Phone's off.
All right, everyone. It must be Friday, so welcome to another episode of the Q&A with Alan and Marshall show. I'm Marshall Atkinson.
And I'm Alan Howe with Easy Way.
And welcome to our show. And Alan, we have somebody with us this week. Who is it?
I'm very excited. I have my friend, Miss Amy Baker from Threadbare Printhouse in Eugene, Oregon. Oregon. I can't believe I just pronounced it that way.
Everybody
from Eugene,
knows it's okay.
Eugene, Oregon.
Good job.
And, I'm real excited, Amy, to have you on. Thank you so much for being on the show. I'm excited to talk about your business. A little background. I met Amy first at ThreadX, I think was the first time we met. Mm-hmm. And then we ended up serving together on an SGI apparel decorators board together. And yeah, just a great story, great shop. And, one of the, I'm going to say this, one of the low key rock stars of the industry. You see her at a show, make sure you come and talk to her. So I'm very excited to have you on. So thank you.
Well, thanks you guys for having me. It's such an honor, and you guys are so brave to do this live. This is the first time I've done anything live. So I don't even do Instagram live or any of that. So I'm ready.
We've had our hiccups. There was one show that's on video that was just one technical problem after the other, and I've been accused of silently praying to God to kill me. Give me a heart attack.
Let's not go there, Alan.
Yeah, just because if you're a Justin for God, you will kill me right now because people just remember poor Alan. He had a heart attack during the show, so it was awful. Yeah.
If you're watching the show, thank you so much, and we would love it if you would say hello, where you're watching from, what's going on, and don't forget that this is a Q&A show. So we really need your questions. We need your comments. Ask us a question. Ask Amy a question. We're going to be talking about a lot of really fun and interesting things this episode. So you may or may not be doing some of the things we're going to talk about. So we want you to dig in and participate. The engagement is where all the fun happens. So if you're just sitting back and watching, you're not really participating. And also, we would love it if you would share that you're watching the show. So click the button and share that you're watching because that really helps us get more viewers.
Absolutely.
And let's say hello to some folks real quick. So Cindy's watching from Texas. Good morning, Cindy. Good to see you again. Sean's here from Alpharetta. Let's stay positive. Exactly.
I will. I am so sorry.
Michael, heart attacks are no fun.
They are not. And Michael, glad you're doing well. Hey, on that note, Marshall, we need to give a shout out to our friend Rick Davis, who is doing well. So Rick is, I don't know if everybody knows Rick. He's in the academy with us. He had heart surgery this week. I have talked to him.
Bypass.
Yep, and he's doing well. So Rick, our thoughts and prayers are with you, man. So
that's right.
Hang in there.
Hang in there. And then James is here from Pittsburgh, Kansas. And Ruben's here from Oakland, Illinois. And it was so much fun meeting Ruben at Shirt Lab Chicago. So wish I could have hung out and chatted with you longer, but, I had things going on. So,
well, Ruben, in the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be back in Chicago. So get ready. I'm going to come up to Oakland. You're just north up by Skokie, and can't wait to see what you're doing there and hang out more.
Great. Awesome. And then here you go. Here's a nice thought. So Cindy says, prayer for all those that need them. Thank you, Cindy. Yep. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
So, all right. Well, anyway, so we're going to get into a lot of stuff. But today I've got something special. Do you know what it is, Alan?
We have a GSG commercial, and it is a brand new one. We have had the same GSG one for a long time. And Amy, you missed. I don't know if you've heard it.
No, I listen to them, but I don't usually watch in the video.
Yeah. So if you listen to it, it just goes silent.
All right, give me a drum roll.
All right, but here's the new one we've been waiting for. Go ahead.
GSG, the combination of over half a century of knowledge with industry-leading technology and the customer at the center of everything that we do. Graphic Solutions Group is a powerhouse distributor of traditional screen, sign, wide format digital printing, embroidery, and textile decorating. We are committed to our customers, providing support, educational, and consulting services. Your success is our success. We've seen these industries grow and change in our 70 years. One thing never changes: GSG's dedication providing the best products and services available. We've been around, we'll be around, from the highs and the lows, standing right here with you. GSG, the right products, right away.
Wow, that's cool.
Yes.
That was good. And I need to place an order with them today, so that was a good reminder. So thanks.
Oh,
Yeah,
did
what are
order
you buying?
We get the Magnacolors ink from them.
Cool. Good. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, so.
And I'm new to taking over the ordering of ink, so it's a little unfamiliar, but I have to figure it out.
Yep.
Cool. And do you order from the webpage?
Yeah, I think so.
Great.
That's great.
Awesome.
Yeah. They're a big Magna dealer. So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for supporting our sponsor.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
You're welcome.
All right. So let's get into the show. So let's talk about
Marshall. We
your
have
business.
more people that have jumped on too. We probably need to say hi to.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do that. Hold on. Yeah, as you can tell, we don't know what we're doing there, Amy.
Could have
Where are
fooled
we?
me. You guys look like professionals.
Here, Ghost is here from Sweden.
Ghosta, how you doing?
And Cal's here from Bay Area, California. Good to see you again, Cal. Sean says, I like the new ad. I hope they pay by the minute. Yeah, it is a little long.
It's like Super Bowl, but it's okay. I like it.
Cindy's here. I love the new commercial and didn't blow my speakers. Thanks.
Yeah.
The last one was kind of loud, wasn't it? So.
It was.
All right. Thanks, guys, for the comments.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your company, Amy. So why don't you just give everybody your introductory elevator pitch about who you guys are at Threadbare?
Yeah, sure. I started this company in my garage 12 years ago. And since then, we've grown. We have 8 employees. We just got an auto in March, so we're new. Prior to that, we had 2 manuals, but now we're 1 auto. We got the 1014, and we're getting the hang of that. But we expanded in January. We moved, tripled our square footage. So it's been a lot. It's been a really busy year, but we're getting by, and we like to focus on trying to be as sustainable as possible and give back to our community. So that's kind of what the focus of Threadbare is.
I love it.
Cool. So we're showing your website right here.
Yeah.
Nice job on it too. Nice website.
I like your
you
website.
think? Okay, thanks. I feel like it's a little bit busy, and I want to simplify it, but yeah.
Did you build it yourself?
So I built I've always built them myself. I've had some different iterations. So I had all these elements, photos and wording and branding and everything, but I did just probably last year hand it over to somebody who does SEO. And so this is new. It was built by somebody here in town, and I think it looks good.
It does look good. Good picture of you.
Yeah, that's old. We do need to update photos. We're going to try to do that next week. We have like 3 or 4 new employees that aren't even on our website yet. So it's kind of hard to find time to stop production, but I need to do that.
And who runs this joint anyway?
Yeah.
That's great. All right, cool. And so you're missing some peeps.
I am, yeah. So we have hired back an employee that worked for me for 8 years. He was my very first employee. He started working for me when he was a junior in high school. His name's Kai, and he's been great. And then when we did the shop expansion, this is the only job he's ever had. So he went and tried some other things, mostly restaurants. And then, you know, sometimes in the course of your business, it just feels right again. So he just came back, which is great. So he's a new but old printer. And then we hired a younger woman actually to run the press as well. She's 22 and she's kicking ass, which is really awesome. So yeah, it kind of took a gamble on someone with no experience, but I've really been grateful for how it's worked out.
Marshall, have you found in managing shops too, from what I've seen from my perspective, it seems like women pick up on autos. They're not afraid of them, and they pick up running them. The hand, and I know the hand-eye coordination is easier and better. Shirts on straight, fast.
Let me tell you, if this is going to sound weird or sexist or whatever, but if I had my way, I would have an all-woman shop. Because let me tell you, they are the best. They want the best. They want to learn. They're so detail-oriented, you know, and guys, they're just like, whatever. You know, but
well, I also don't want to stereotype, because we do have some men here that work really hard. But
I'm sure guys are great. That's not what I'm saying.
Well,
it's just
right.
Yeah.
It's the organization though that I have found, like, you know, who's going to write down the ink formulas and the production notes, and who's going to count in the garments, and like, you know, we've been lucky. Right now we have 3 men, 6 women. And that changes from time to time, but right now it's that's the dynamic. So I do think it's important for shop owners to consider hiring women. I mean, I've never really hired people with experience. My metric when I hire is, have you worked in fast food or not? Because those people are hard workers and don't stand around and are fast paced. And I come from the world of fast food. My parents owned a Dairy Queen when I was growing up, and my grandparents owned a A&W. So just like that work ethic it's never gone wrong for me. And so, you know, as long as we're not hiring somebody with a bunch of experience anyway, like giving women a chance at something they don't traditionally do is a good idea.
Yeah, I'm a big peanut butter parfait fan. So
man, so you do know. So good.
I do know. And so one of the things that I've always looked for in hiring is people who have good hand-eye coordination. I always tried to find people who had played sports, like in high school or college, because they seemed to do better with that. I also like vets, so anybody that was in the military. And I like athletic stuff and military, because they understand the team concept, they understand the mission concept, goal setting, and all that kind of stuff. Those were big things for me. And I also, as part of the interview process, was always interested with people who had hobbies or volunteered or something. I was always trying to find people that were trying to bring joy to themselves or to other people, because they always made really great employees. And I was trying to always call out to people that were just bring that negativity. You know, they're just like, I don't like that. Like, I like people who made it better to work there, that were always fun or always positive, or just for the hell of it brought in brownies on a Thursday. I mean, those always made the best people on the team. And so that's who I was really always trying to look for in staff. And of course, we can train people to do anything, but we want these core soft skill kind of, what do you bring into our group? Those made the best kind of folks, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how big your shop was, Marshall, but there's 8 of us here. And I mean, you spend a lot of time with these people, and one negative attitude can bring down a lot. And so, if people kind of get it and get what a small business is and don't expect things to be perfect all the time, I think that sort of flexibility is huge. And just like you said, bring in the coffee and the donuts once in a while, just because we like each other,
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, we had about 150 people on 2 shifts.
Oh, okay. That's a lot. That's a lot more than 8.
So, all right, we got some quotes here. Let's see.
Brian Buffalo.
Brian says, just listen to Amy's Printavo interview. It's all Amy all the time.
Is that out? I didn't know that was out. I recorded it, but.
And then Hurley says, good morning, everyone. Hope everybody's having a great week. Hey, look, he changed his name finally.
Yep, to Christopher. So, because he's on YouTube.
And I just called him Hurley. So there you go.
So, so from up there in Canada, Brian's in Missouri. So, thanks, guys.
Ruben says, women have more attention to detail. Men put in the hard work. There you go.
Well, I know I first noticed early in my career when the record was set for prints per hour, that for years it was just a girl, a lady did it.
Is that manually?
No, on an automatic.
Oh, what was the record?
Some ungodly number.
Yeah.
And it still is. I think who broke it? It's a guy that broke it now, but it was an ungodly number, and she printed for New Buffalo.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she did piece rate, so she would just put them on, and I mean, it was if the shirts were there, it was so fast.
So it's just about her flipping them quick and loading them quickly.
Yep,
Wow.
and they had to be straight and stuff. So
okay.
I remember watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's a machine.
Right. Yeah. Well, if they have to be straight and stuff, then that makes sense.
No, they have to. Everything has to be straight.
Yeah, because it was piece rate because they had to be sellable.
Right.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So,
wow, interesting.
Yeah. Cindy says DQ is the Texas stop sign. So if you're in Georgia, it's Waffle House, by the way. So, and then Chris says, nope, that's my YouTube. Facebook's comments aren't working again for me this week. By the way, Facebook changed something with StreamYard, and there's a connectivity thing that changed. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. So I don't know.
Into that.
We don't own the software. We just rent it.
Hi, Kevin.
Kevin says Amy's the best.
Kevin's amazing too. So again,
Kevin was, Alan, I was going to say, sorry to cut you off, but Kevin, you and I were on the SGIA Garment Decorators Board for a while.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Kevin might still be on there.
Kevin, are you still? I believe Kevin, you're still on Decorators Committee, I believe. And Kevin is a great man, emulsion guru. He knows his stuff.
So, Amy, who are your customers? How are you serving them?
Yeah. So,
Bless you, Alan.
Thank you.
Like I said, this started in my garage years ago, and so they're 90% local. We do print for some things out of state and some things in Bend or Portland, but most of it is local here. Most of it is other small business owners like myself that I think were kind of attracted to the grit and the hard work that I was putting in there in the beginning. And so a lot of restaurant owners, we've gotten lucky enough to do some of the bigger breweries, and also a lot of those early customers that have even been there since the garage days, a couple restaurants and breweries, they've since also grown and expanded. So now like our target is that, that restaurant or brewery that's got like 2 locations, but not 10, that. And then other than that, there's a big cannabis industry here that is a lot of what we do, and some schools and stuff like that. Because we do only water-based, we haven't done a lot of like sportswear and teams and things like that, although we're getting into more heat pressing, and the inks we're using are better suited for printing on poly. So we're taking on a little bit more of that, but that's not really our niche or kind of what we want to do. We sort of focus on even like yoga brands or things that companies that really do care about fashion forward and sustainability.
You should look at silicone.
Yeah, you mean as a base or an additive?
As an ink, especially if you're doing yoga stuff, right? Because stretchability and all that. So
I actually did just look into that. So I was at water-based camp, and Matsui had
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Martinez was there, and he had lots of samples. And so when I got back, I contacted RC Screen Supply. They're in Portland, and we get screens from them. So yeah, and I was asking her about silicone bases, and I think it might also be called Super Stretch. I think she and I were talking about the same thing, but calling it something different. So I didn't buy it yet because I was still kind of trying to figure it out.
Sure. I know. I think Magna has one.
Well, yeah, and we use Magnet inks.
I'm trying to think. I know Aviant has one. James, if you're still on here, tell us. Aviant, do they still have a silicone? I believe they do, which owns Magna. So,
oh, okay.
Is that part of Aquarius, or is this something different?
I think so. I don't remember. It's all changed a little bit.
It's confusing.
Well, and the struggle is like we have a lot of Green Galaxy inks that we don't want to waste, so we use those. We're switching over to Magnacolors because the pigment load is lighter, which is a little more eco-friendly and sustainable. Yep. So, and we're really liking the Magnacolors. But then you go to Waterbase Camp and they have a Matsui rep, and you're like, oh, well, all that sounds good. So but you can't really mix the bases with the pigments, I don't think. So investing in a new, can you? I wasn't really sure.
Yeah, and Jesse and the guys at Magna and all of them are gonna kill me. And Mark Soldanic,
tell me the truth.
Yeah, Mark Soldanic just said Aviance Libre is their silicone line. So Mark is with GSG. So
okay.
He's their
application
specialist. So
I'm placing an order today, Mark. So I'll look for it.
So Mark, make sure next show we're all at, you meet Amy. So Mark's their application specialist, runs their lab. If you've seen any of the videos GSG has.
That's great. It's hard sometimes when you don't have a rep or like a person to ask questions to. And we're pretty new to Magnacolors and GSG, but it is difficult sometimes to ask questions. So I usually ask other printers. Like I know a couple print shops that use Magnacolors, so we get information that way.
Back what I was saying on there are companies you can a lot of times now. The pigments might not match up color wise, but I do know shops that use such and such base, these pigments, stuff like that. So it is possible. You have to pretty much test on your own.
Yeah, and there's a lot of Frankensteining going on.
There is in the water-based part.
Everybody has their, we got buckets of this stuff. What will happen?
Yeah, we have buckets of stuff that I don't, it's just money sitting there. So we need to use it. But then you also have to be consistent if your customer reorders down the line, you got to know what you did. So, there's a lot of Frankensteining.
Yeah, you have a computer system where you can log how many, how many grams percentage, that you're putting in there, so you can remix it.
Yep.
We use Printavo, and I'm glad for that investment. That's huge for organization.
Yeah. And when it comes to silicone, we were talking. Christopher is like the silicone master.
Okay.
So he's up in Canada, and he's done HD stuff with silicone and stuff like that. So he's a big proponent of silicone.
Yeah.
So it's mostly for on the 100% poly, the workout gear.
So companies like Badger and stuff like that use a lot of it because it'll actually won't bleed. It'll gas through a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So got some comments let's throw out there. So Kevin says Amy's the best, and then
this is Kevin is
Kevin is the best. Everybody's the best. So Kevin says I am best. Right?
Kevin is answering yes, he's still on the decorators committee is what that was from.
No, I think he's agreeing that he's the best.
Well, he'll do that too. Also, Marshall, Ampersand Print Company, that's Dennis Tan.
Yeah, he's going to be here next week.
And he's going to be with me next week.
I'm traveling, and so he's going to help out. So that's great.
Oh, awesome.
Frank from SNS is here. Good morning, guys and lady.
Good morning.
And Scott's here from North Carolina, who's hanging out on top of a mountain.
Oh, really?
I talked to him on Monday. So, and then where are we? And then Scott says, "Hey guys, since y'all are discussing ink, who has a good mixing system?"
All of them.
I've used professionally, I've used Rio, so I'm going to just throw that out there. Right.
So I'll give my little 2 cents on it for Plastisol. The Rio system's real good. I really like International Coatings also. WM Plastics isn't bad. It's a very nice one. But Scott, you got to look at a couple things on it. One, availability. Pigments during some of the shortages, pigments have been a little bit harder to get. So check with your suppliers of who they recommend and what Plastisols are you using right now, and try to stay within that system on it. But I know Rio's real good. I really like International Coatings one too. So those are opinions.
But what's important though is if you're getting a system, is that you use it properly. You have a really good scale. You tear it out after each thing. You have a process, right? So and then you work clean. I'm a big work clean guy, right? So that's one of the most important things is your process more than anything, and because that's going to give you the repeatability when you do things.
Yeah, and don't just get a gram scale like the balance weight scale. You want a digital one that goes at least to 1/10 of a gram on there.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel. Some of those pigments are pretty costly, and you need very little of it. So and then is it a finishing system? Is it a pure pigment system? So you got to look at a couple different things. But great question.
Yeah. Right.
Amy, for waterbase, you have a mixing system?
I mean, what I love about this whole industry is that every shop it's all different. I mean, the product can be the same in the end and good quality, but I do think that there's not a textbook, there's not a best, just like which auto to buy. I mean, I do think that you find your system, and there's no 2 shops the same as far as I know.
Absolutely. Agreed. 100%. So you got to find what works for you. Everybody has their own, like people are saying Union and Rutland, they all have great systems. What are you using? What works in your shop? So yeah, absolutely.
Right. So, all right. And Kevin says he's still in the committee, but he's not the best. He's just okay. Chris
disagree.
This has turned into the Kevin Koth show.
Yeah, and then,
Kevin, get out of the way.
Kevin just hijacked our show. No, it's awesome. I love him. He's amazing. So
Sean says he likes the M3 system from Rutland.
A lot of people use the M3. Yeah, another good one. So,
and Scott says they use Primary Union,
and they have one. They're mix opaque and stuff. They have a very good one.
And Sean says he uses CCI True Ready to Use T-Charge mixing system for water base and discharge.
And this is different. So you got to. So with discharge, you're going to want to stay with one system. Discharge is very weird on exacting colors. You almost can't. So you almost want to stay with a separate system for that.
So Daryl says, let's talk about hitting ink manufacturing colors, hitting color on press, mesh selection, etc. Yeah, it all matters. It's process, right? So you can have the right color ink mixed in the bucket, but the thickness of your stencil can produce a different color on your substrate because of the opacity of the ink, for example, or what the underbase color is. And there isn't a one-stop shop way of doing it, right? It's going to really depend on a lot of factors. Your squeegee durometer, for example, can give you different colors just with the same ink.
Yep.
Depending on the ink color, right? I'm thinking more like a royal reflex blue color, right? Especially if it's printing on you're using an underbase or not, right? All that can produce different results. So,
correct.
There's a lot of skill involved in what we do, and we're kind of new to the auto, so that did change a lot. We weren't flashing very much before, or underbasing very much before, really. And so we've taken to, before any job that has more than 2 colors, like a production meeting. So the graphic designer, the 3 printers, and myself kind of taking 5 minutes to strategize everything, to do, have them set ourselves up for as much success as possible, and then go from there. Sometimes we get it right and sometimes we don't, but we're just learning so much, which can be kind of exhausting sometimes. But
yeah. So Daryl says, let's have a show to talk about this. I totally agree.
That'd be a great topic.
That'd be a great Shirt Lab workshop right there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm writing it down.
I think also too, people just getting into color matching, they forget that you mix a color can change once it's dried. So you got to make sure it's dried when you're checking it out. So.
Well, I'm a big, do you have a color spectrometer, right? Are you, what level are you at color matching? Are you eyeballing it, or are you really going to measure it with a device? Right. So
what kind of light are you looking at under?
Yeah, the lighting thing we sometimes walk outside to look under the daylight, but we have a Pantone book that's like 10 years old, so we are not the experts, but
right. So Mark says pigment and base system is the most versatile and cost effective, but is a larger upfront cost to set up.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Right. So professionals use professional tools. That's basically what he just said. Mm-hmm. Yes. So all right, so I want to switch gears here a little bit, and I want to talk about this, which is your Earth Day celebration you did for Threadfest. I'm a big believer in creating experiences for customers, and here is an experience. So, Amy, what did you guys do? And just give us all the info.
Yeah, sure. That was our grand opening at our new shop. We moved in January. We had that in April. We chose Earth Day because, we understand that we're in a wasteful industry, so we're not trying to pull the wool over anyone's eyes, but we do want to keep sustainability at kind of the forefront of what we do so that we can make decisions based on what would be best practices. So we did it on Earth Day. We partnered with All Made, which is a sustainably minded t-shirt company. Yep. We had live bands, we live printed, so people could bring an old shirt that they no longer wanted, and we packed them up and shipped it to a garment recycling facility.
Oh, cool.
And then they could buy a new All Made shirt for $10 and then pick out one of 4 designs and then watch it get live printed with this Algae ink. And we had beer and live music, and it was just really fun.
Mm-hmm. And what I really like there, I'm showing your webpage, by the way, was walk, bike, or skateboard to the event.
Yeah, you hope, we were kind of worried about parking. So people walked, and luckily for us and this kind of event, we're actually pretty centrally located in Eugene. We're not like typical print shops are usually out warehouses out of town, but that's been something. Oops, sorry if I lost you.
Nope, you're fine.
Oh, my headphone fell out. That was something when I moved that was actually pretty important to me to stay local, because we do a lot with the community, and it's more expensive to be in town, but it's more fun to walk to restaurants and hop on bikes at lunch and stuff like that. So, luckily for us, people did come down and have the experience.
And that's part of what your shop does. You said, I've always given back to the community and being community minded too, which I love.
Yeah, we try. We've done events in the past that are fundraisers. This one was actually a fundraiser too. We didn't raise a lot of money. It was, but we were raising money for the watershed here, and so we had beer that comes from this watershed, and we accepted donations and got the word out.
Every little bit.
Yeah, and I think this is just fantastic. And doing stuff like this, especially if you do it an annual event, just grows and grows. And this is how you build community. This is how you build momentum. This is, there's a lot of things that happen from this. And I think a lot of times people, they don't do it or don't want to start because it's going to be small, or are they worried about it? Yeah. And I think by just doing it and not really worried about the results so much, because it's going to build momentum, and you're going, if this is the first 10 years from now, you look back and we had 100 people at the first one, and now we got 2,000. or whatever. And that's because you've continually grown it, right? And getting started is like the hardest part. So talk to us, Amy, about how you came up with the idea and how you got started and maybe what you were worried about before you launched it. Talk about that type of stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you mentioned like the momentum and the getting the word out. People know where you are, because we didn't make money. Like it cost me a lot of money, not a lot, but you know, it costs a couple $100. So you have to pay all your employees to be there, and it's really fun. But you know, at the end of the day, I kind of had those concerns of like, should we do this again? Was that a bad idea? But it's a marketing expense, and also it's fun, and we will try to do it every year. And now we have ideas that we might do it a little bit differently next year. So you know, there's always ways to improve and grow, but this wasn't our first one. We have done some live printing stuff. One time we did one that we didn't get a ton of people there, but it was really fun. Everyone that worked at Threadbare at the time, I think there was 4 or 5 at that time, made their own design, like just a random t-shirt design. And then we invited people to come down and buy one, and your t-shirt you purchased was your vote. So it was a contest for everyone that worked there. So cool. That got, you know, like our employees invited all their friends and stuff so that they could get more votes. And yeah, we had a super great time, and it wasn't even like a big event or anything. Probably lost money then too. I don't remember.
I love that. I love that. I did at the shop that I ran, we were trying to raise money for the Cancer Society, and we did a cookie sale, like a bake sale, right?
Oh, cool.
And then everybody could bring. You had a max of 2 dozen cookies, and whoever sold the most cookies, we gave them a cash award, and then all the money for the sales went to our donation. And
that's super fun.
Great.
It was hilarious, and so it was really great. And so I like involving employees and doing things, and you know, especially if there's a purpose kind of dangling at the end, you know, and that just makes everybody feel good. So anyway, so that's great. And then Frank here says, I hear mac and cheese events are great.
Well, there's only been one.
That's my that's my Shirt Lab business partner, Tom. He does a mac and cheese festival every year, and that has grown to be a crazy event. And he spoke about that at our Shirt Lab Chicago event. And
oh, nice! Yeah, you guys are making me hungry.
I know, and you know, there's beer, there's different restaurants competing for a mac and cheese award, and and donations. It all goes to Ronald McDonald House. But different organizations.
And juvenile diabetes. Right?
Juvenile diabetes.
Oh, cool.
So
so it's all good, and I think doing things, especially showing up, you know, really makes a difference. And so good job with that.
Yeah, I mean, I do it just you know, because that's who I am, and it's my business, and it's a small business, and you know, and I like that, but it's also good for business. I mean, people remember that, and I've had people call us the next time they need shirts and say like, "Oh, I came to one of your events," and you know, so it's good for the bottom line eventually.
And that's the marketing cost. It's all marketing.
Did you have it at the shop?
Yeah, so we have a big roll-up door that we opened, and we actually got worried about rain, so we had to rent a big tent. That was kind of one of the expenses, but I'm so glad we did. You know, it just like made it seem like a professional event. And then we built a stage out of pallets from the shop. That was a little sketchy. No one got hurt, but we had the kind of a janky stage that we covered in some rugs, and we had a professional sound guy walking around, and we had some raffle prizes that we gave away. And
good.
Yeah, it was very fun. Years ago, my dad built me a t-shirt cannon. I've always wanted a real one, but he made one out of PVC pipe, and you pump it up with a bicycle pump, and then you hit a lever, and it works. It shoots a t-shirt out. So we were doing that into the crowd, and it was just really fun.
That's great. That's great. Okay, cool. So, hey, let's pay some bills, Alan, and talk about the GSG Pulse, and then we'll come back and talk about sustainability. And so let me get that fired up here. And so GSG, their website, of course, is gogsg.com. And so curious, Amy, have you looked through the Pulse? This is their magazine. Have you ever seen that?
I have not.
So if you go to their website and click right at the header, you can get the Pulse, which is a flip magazine book, right?
Okay.
Here, this is page 20. And what we want to talk about today, of course, is the Hoop Master, which is an easy way for embroidery shops to get the whatever you're loading on the shirt to make sure it's straight and exact placement for the whole run. And they've got a deal where it's 5% off. And they also have this Gen 2 hat frame here that's 10% off. So this is, if you're looking to do things the right way, the Hoop Master is the best tool. And if you're an embroidery shop, you know how valuable the Hoop Master is. And I guarantee you some of the folks like Cindy and others that are watching, they all use a Hoop Master. So it's like the perfect thing.
Is that like well, yeah, we have 2 embroidery heads. We've only been doing it for about a year and a half. Is that a magnetic hoop? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's a magnetic hoop. And what this does is allow you to put the shirt, you can see the picture there. It loads on the shirt and allows you to perfectly place it in the left chest or wherever you want to put it, because it's got these little numbered pegs where it allows you to figure out where you want to put it. So every single time you use it, it's in the same spot, right? So when you do a run, they're all line up exactly the same because it's based on preset templated measurements. So,
okay, we definitely need one of those. We didn't know about that. We only just recently learned about the magnetic hoops, and we only own a couple, but they were game changers. And I think I'll talk to Lauren, who runs our embroidery, because I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So what I would do, and because these are made for different machines, so and so you've got to get them for your machine so that the hoop is correct, right?
Oh, okay.
So just when you place your order for the magnet ink you want to order, talk to them about the Hoop Master.
Sure. Yeah.
All right. Well, great. So perfect. This is a nice little segue into the next thing we want to talk about, which is sustainability, right? Part of sustainability is doing things the proper way, because we all know when you make less errors, that's more sustainable.
Absolutely.
Yes, less waste is more sustainable.
Yep.
Right. And your whole company is kind of built around this notion of sustainability, and you have a local Oregon certification, correct?
Yeah, well, local to Eugene, our town has one.
Eugene.
And I'm going to look into other certifications too. I haven't looked around at that yet, but I mean, we're not fools. Like, we do understand we're creating a new product. We're not taking plastic out of the ocean or,
right.
You know, we do understand that this is an incredibly wasteful industry, and this is the industry that we're in. So the small things that we can do can make a difference. So I built the company with trying to be as sustainable as possible, which sometimes just means learning about stuff and not just kind of blindly going about the way things have always been done, but trying to learn more about how this industry works, because it is not a transparent world. The way garments get made and pigments get made, and it's so it is what it is. But trying to learn more is kind of what we're all about. So we make lots of little changes, and then when we can, we make bigger changes.
Well, that's good. And so there's a couple ways to think about sustainability in a shop, and I'm sure that you would agree with these, which is, it's your people, like, what are we doing, right? This your process, how we do things and the reason why we do them, right? And then it's also your facility, right? So that's why we have LEED certified buildings, or we invest in solar panels, or we use motion sensor lights to turn things off when we're not in the room because nobody can remember to hit the switch.
Yeah.
That type of stuff really matters, and it pays off in the long run. And but I want to hit on a process thing that you do and that Alan was telling me about. I didn't really know anything about that, which is this ink that you've started using. So I want to kind of share this website real quick. So talk about this living ink a little bit, and what is it?
Sure. So the living ink is made from algae, and I think, Alan, is it made from like a waste product of?
So yeah, the type of algae is called spirulina, and spirulina I knew is a food grade algae, and actually there's spirulina powders you can buy at health food stores and stuff. But spirulina is actually a blue pigment, and it's used. That's how they make food coloring, and it is the byproduct of that they're using to make this carbon black ink.
Right. So it only comes in
and black. I know that only because I was looking at their webpage and I was researching it.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
One of the things that I did a while ago was appoint one of our staff to be our sustainability director. That's not her only job, of course, but having a person who focuses on that. So she found this ink, and we were having our Thread Fest coming up, and she reached out to the company, and they actually gave us some at a discount. So that's how we were able to first try it without a huge investment. But then, we posted about it, and I know other screen printers have tried it, and now we have a customer that uses it. So it's not our go-to ink. It's not what we use all the time, but we have, like, as soon as we learned about it, we knew exactly who to talk to. We have this customer called Washed Ashore here in Oregon, and they collect garbage from the ocean and create these huge sculptures that I think are awesome. Yeah, it's just a really neat nonprofit, and we were like, oh, these guys are going to want to know about this, and they do. So now we have a customer that uses it, and yeah, it's been something kind of fun to try. I was kind of skeptical at first, but it prints really well, and it washed great, and we like it.
And you use the soft base algae. This is the one that you tried right here.
That's the one that we have. Yeah, currently. I didn't try the high solids one, but I wonder if it's more. I almost feel like they didn't have that when we got it. I thought they only had one screen printing ink, but they have ink for like newspapers. I've seen like Urban Outfitters had used this ink. Like, I mean, it got a lot of applications.
Right.
And I'm excited that sometimes, like you said, we're not real transparent in our industry at times of what's going on. So when I saw what Amy was doing with Threadfest on Earth Day, and then I saw this ink, and that's when I called her. How did that go? What's going on with this? And yeah, and, Amy, I loved it because we just got talking and said, yeah, I don't know how it's going to print, but I thought this is a great advancement, pigment wise, because we're right in the middle at that point. This was in April, I think, and around there, May. And, we're talking about, supply chain issues and stuff. What are the ink companies doing to look? And I thought, this is, is this the answer? I don't know. But hey, there are things moving, and that's the exciting part.
That is the exciting part. And I want to commend you, Amy, for getting out of your lane and trying something.
Absolutely.
And not just trying it, but you tried it at a live event, which is scary.
Yeah.
Well, we did test. We wash tested it prior. So yeah, live printing, you stop, like you wait for the customer, and live printing goes slower. So that's not great for any water-based ink. So we made it work. We were printing for several hours, and several breaks in between. So yeah, I don't know if it's brave or just dumb, but I get excited to try stuff like that.
Sometimes those are the same thing.
Exactly.
It's true. It's true.
And you said the screen stability was good. It didn't clog. It didn't do things like that. No.
Well, we're used to ink drying up, so we use water-based inks exclusively. So that's kind of what we're already expecting. So we do a lot of ink management. We put a little bit of ink on the screen so that we can add frequently, so we can keep things moving, and we use a water spray bottle to keep in like sometimes with a silicone base or like a little bit added to the water so that we can keep the ink flowing. So we're just kind of already used to that. So we didn't have any issues at that time with the algae ink.
Right.
Yeah,
Good.
absolutely.
And how does it smell?
Yeah, it smells earthy. It kind of smells good.
Yeah?
Oh, like the ocean?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe not as good as the ocean.
It doesn't smell like fish or anything, does it?
No.
Okay.
It's just, kind of just sort of unique, like dirt or something.
It's a dirt smell. There you go.
Yeah.
Like truffles, it's the umami smell.
Yeah, it's probably its own thing. So
yeah.
Well, that's interesting.
And that's awesome. And, I think the fact that, okay, I'm trying this, well, now you've gained a customer out of going, hey, here's what we're doing. And that was from there. That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot more being done even on bigger scales for sustainability than even we realize.
Great.
I got to travel to Honduras and see a t-shirt factory where they were powering the factory. I guess energy is like one of the biggest problems that we're going to have in the world is like powering things. So this factory that had been around since the 30s, it was definitely not OSHA. It was a really, really rickety factory that we went through. Just these metal rails that, I don't know, it was a little sketchy, but they are taking the sugarcane waste. So after you harvest the sugarcane and then use it for sugar or molasses or whatever, there's just a ton of waste. And so we would just watch these huge vats of kind of like mulch go by. And that was that's how t-shirts were getting made, because the factories were being powered with this sugarcane waste. So
being burned, or how is it?
Yeah, I think incinerators. I didn't see that part. I saw the processing plant, but that's how they power things as opposed to being on the grid or solar panel, like the different ways we can power things. Like there's a lot of waste in the world that is, and some people are using it.
Yeah.
Now, can you say which t-shirt companies you visited in Honduras? Go ahead.
Yeah. So that one was actually owned by Sanmar.
Okay. Sanmar?
Yeah,
or Gilded. Sanmar?
Yeah, I was lucky enough to go to Honduras twice, and once was with Gildan, and the second time was with Allmade, which is owned by Sanmar.
Correct.
And so on that particular trip, we were touring a Sanmar facility. So Sanmar owns a couple brands like Allmade and Port and Company. So they manufacture their own t-shirts, and then of course they're a distributor too. But the sugarcane one was a Sanmar facility, and then Gildan has these huge incinerators and a biomass thing where they process water, and so they're doing a lot too, right? And Gildan's the biggest player in the world, so it matters when they do positive things. Right.
So Ray's here, by the way, and he's got several comments. He's running late. That's okay. We're not going to dock your pay or anything. And he says some variants of ink technology for medical printing and pharmaceuticals.
So you've talked about the algae ink. So Amy, do you know Ray Greenwood, Jesse Greenwood?
No, I don't.
So he's a consultant. He's been in the industry a long time, Academy member with us. Cool. He works a lot in that medical field and electronic printing. So he sees a lot of things that we don't.
And he says that the ink smell reminds him of coffee grounds that have been in the flower bed for a while.
Yeah, kind of like dirt.
And then he also says the sugarcane biomass, it ferments and produces heat for a heat pump, and then you can burn the dried waste. It's not low carbon, but it is low waste.
Okay,
that makes sense.
Yeah,
and of course it's not low carbon because we're burning it. That's part of it.
Right.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
So anyway, it's all good. It's all good. And while we're talking about sustainability, I kind of want to just throw out there the Sgp Partnership, which I used to be very involved in. I'm not now, but if you're looking to get a certification, these are the people to do it, because it's all about all types of printing, not just textile. And they have a third-party audit, and they can walk you through it. By the way, Marcy Kinter with Printing United has a group that she it's like a 6-8 week program that you can join. Usually there's about 10 to 12 people in the cohort that they're going through the learning how to get certified process. And then at the end of it, you're ready basically to get the audit. It's a fantastic program. It's sgppartnership.org. Highly recommend it. I've actually championed 2 shops through this program, and it's just awesome. They've got all types of measurements, and they teach you about volatile organic compounds and reducing your carbon footprint and how to measure things. And it's really great. So lots of fantastic people that are involved, and if you just look at it's a huge queue of great companies that are SGP certified. So highly recommend you do it. I can help anybody with this because I've done it. I've gotten 2 shops certified, so I completely know what to do. So anyway, so
have to look into that.
Just want to throw that out there.
When you can I ask you a question about that, Marshall?
Yes.
No.
When you did that and helped shops do that, did they have to buy expensive equipment? Because one of the biggest wastes that we have is the film. And so, of course, we want to direct to screen, but it's going to be a while.
So the certification process, one of the requirements is to improve one thing a year. Okay. And you get to pick what your one thing is. So what's your one thing? My one thing is recycling. My one thing is new technology. My one thing is whatever. It's just about improving. It's not about, they don't dictate what your project is. What they do want is you to document, and it doesn't even matter if it was a positive result, because they know that sometimes the positive result happens 2 or 3 iterations in, not with the first try, right? So it's just about getting the thing going more than it is about the end, right? And getting past film is, and going into a CTS unit would be something I would be looking at for sure. There is a huge cost in that, but there's a giant benefit at the other end. And one factor is just reducing film, right? But that isn't the only reason, right? And it's really more about speeding things up and being more effective with your time, more than it is about reducing your film costs. So.
Yeah, totally. I mean, we want one so bad, but with our expansion and getting the auto, it's going to be a while.
Well, you just start saving and looking at it, and there's used ones on the market all the time, right? It's just being ready for that, and so. Mm-hmm.
We have another couple more down. Frank has a thing.
All right, hold on. So Frank says if has a chance to tour Billet Canvas in LA, it's phenomenal how they recycle water as well. Top notch and done in the States.
Frank, is that an invite for the 3 of us come and do Q&A there?
I've wanted to come there before. Yeah. I tried.
Gesture says hi, whoever he is.
So I know who Gesture is. Jed is actually part of my family in the Philippines.
Oh, great.
And he is actually interested. I actually hooked him up with Razinga and sent him some stuff of possibly getting into a small print thing and all that. But, we were talking sustainability. I'm going to give Jed a little shout out. Jed is actually a professional tour guide down in Palawan, Philippines. So if you ever seen the underground rivers that go through the caves and stuff, he can free dive. Jed, how far can you free dive? 30 meters, is it?
Wow.
But he, he's amazing, because we were talking about the tours, and he says it's all about saving it. They don't want the coral reefs touched. They're giving these tours where there's swallows and bats and going, look, bird's nest soup, they're actually taking the nests from the swallows and stuff. And so we were talking about, it's so funny, we're talking about sustainability comes on. Jed's a amateur photographer, made a little bit of money there. So just a great guy. So thank you. He said he's watched this because it is 1 a.m. there. And why are you not asleep?
And Frank says, of course, let me know when I get it set up right after Long Beach is ideal. Okay, well, there
Let's
you go.
I'm there. Amy, you
Let's
in?
start planning.
Of course. I wanted to go last ISS Long Beach, and I asked Tom Davenport if I could, and he did help me arrange it. But then because of my travel and time and blah, 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 but I just didn't end up having time, because it's in LA. So you got to account for that. But yes, I would definitely plan it this next year.
Oh, yeah.
All right. There you go. We're already planning.
We're in, Frank.
Yeah, we're coming.
Let's make it happen. And Tommy Davenport, one of the class guys in the industry. I love him.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, guess what? Time's up. Wow. What a quick hour.
No.
Darn.
So, Amy, before we go, talk about how somebody can reach you or what's coming up for you in the future, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, we're on, there's my email address, amy@threadbarepress.com. We're on Instagram, and then I'm the one that runs the Instagram, so that's me at Threadbare Printhouse. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what we have coming up, just trying to get out of survival mode and get on top of production. We're actually, real quick, can I run by you? We're going to try something new starting Monday. Yeah. Which is 410s. Okay. Have you ever done that?
Marshall?
Yes.
Yeah. So we've never tried it, but we're just so behind on production, and in part it's good. It's good because we're busy, but also we're kind of slow because we're still in learning mode. So this is hopefully going to help.
Okay. Well, hey, Amy, after the show, we should have a chat because that's what I do. Workflow.
Oh, nice. Okay. Perfect. I asked the right person.
Yep.
All right. Well, hey, thanks everyone for joining us, and a huge shout out to Amy for jumping in and being live on our show today.
I love it. What did Brian say? All Amy, all the time.
Yeah. All right. Let's put that on a t-shirt.
Exactly. Well, great. And next week, Marshall, we're going to miss you, but everybody tune in. I'm excited to have Dennis Tan as a co-host. He was on the show a few weeks ago.
Right.
And we already have our topics picked out.
Yeah. So Ray says 410s is a great week, but he likes 312s.
Wow. 312s. Okay.
He's a killer.
I think he's being funny.
Yeah.
So, next week I'll be in Youngstown, Ohio.
And Mr. Joe Sudrovic's Grill of Joe's.
Yeah, that's where I'll be. So,
I had dinner with Joe a few weeks ago.
Great. So we're going to wrap up the show. So thank you so much, Amy, and thanks to everyone that's watching. Appreciate you guys. Amy, don't go anywhere. We're just hitting those end buttons. So
it's always a good day, Ron.
Thanks, everybody.
Yep.
Thank you.